Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devin Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraet
Tato Jaya Mudire
Nashtaprayasva Bhadresu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevya
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke
Bhagavati Uttam Sloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhaktir Bhavate Naistiki.
Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, title Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. And today's verse is verse number 57. Chetasa sarva karmani
Cetasa sarva karmani
mai sannyasa matpara
Mai sannyasa matpara
buddhi yogam upashritya
Buddhi yogam upasritya
machita satatam bhava.
Machita saratam bhava.
Chetasa sarva karmani
Cetasa sarva karmani
mai sannyasa matpara
Mai sannyasa matpara
buddhi yogam upashritya
Buddhi yogam upasritya
machita satatam bhava.
Machita satatam bhava.
Anyone would like to lead?
Cetasa sarva karmani
Chetasa sarva karmani
Mai sannyasa matpara
mai sannyasa matpara
Buddhi yogam upasritya
buddhi yogam upashritya
Machita satatam bhava.
machita satatam bhava.
चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि
Cetasa
Chetasa
sarva
sarva
karmani
karmani
मयि सन्न्यास्य मत्परः
Mai
mai
sannyasa
sannyasa matpara
matpara
बुद्धियोगम् उपाश्रित्य
Buddhi
buddhi
yogam
yogam
upasritya
upashritya
मच्माचितः सततं भव
Machita
machita
satatam
satatam
bhava.
bhava.
सर्वकर्माणि
Cetasa
Chetasa
sarva
sarva
karmani
karmani
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः
Mai
mai
sannyasa
sannyasa
matpara
matpara buddhi yogam upashritya
upasritya
योगम्
तन्
उपाश्रित्य
मच्चित्तं सततं भव
Machita
machita
satatam
satatam
bhava.
bhava. Thank you very much. Word by word meaning. Chetasa by intelligence.
Cetasa by intelligence.
Sarva karmani,
Sarva karmani
all kinds of activities.
all kinds of activities.
Mai onto me.
Mai unto me.
Sannyasa giving up.
Sannyasa giving up.
Matpara
Matparaha
under my protection.
under my protection.
Buddhi yogam
Buddhi yogam
devotional activities.
devotional activities.
Upashritya
Upasritya
taking shelter of.
taking shelter of.
Machita
Machita
in consciousness of me.
in consciousness of me.
Satatam
Satatam
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day.
Bhava
Bhava
just become.
just become.
Translation by His Divine Grace C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
In all activities,
In all activities,
just depend upon me
just depend upon me
and work always under my protection.
and work always under my protection.
In such devotional service,
In such devotional service,
be fully conscious of me.
be fully conscious of me.
Anyone would like to read this page of purport by His Divine Grace?
When one acts in Krishna consciousness, he does not act as the master of the world. Just like a servant, one should act fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. A servant has no individual independence. He acts only on the order of the master. A servant acting on behalf of the Supreme Master is unaffected by profit and loss. He simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. Now, one may argue that Arjun was acting under the personal direction of Krishna. But when Krishna is not present, how should one act? If one acts according to direction of Krishna in this book, as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. The Sanskrit word matpara is very important in this verse. It indicates that one has no goal in life save and except acting in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna. And while working in that way, one should think of Krishna only. I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. While acting in such a way, one naturally has to think of Krishna. This is perfect Krishna consciousness. One should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Supreme Lord. That sort of duty is not in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. One should act according to the order of Krishna. This is a very important point. That order of Krishna comes through this disciplic succession from the bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, the spiritual master's order should be taken as the prime duty of life. If one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, then one's perfection of life in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Let's all chant together. अज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुवितमेन
चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै
तस्मै
श्रीगुरवे
श्रीगुरवे
नमः।
नमः।
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्ट
चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
स्थापितं येन
स्थापितं
भूतले
भूतले
स्वयं
स्वयं
रूप
रूप
कदा
कदामह्यं
मह्यं
ददाति
ददाति स्वपदान्तिके।
स्वपदान्तिकं
वन्देऽहं
वन्देऽहं
श्रीगुरो
श्रीगुरोः
श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरो
श्रीगुरुं
वैष्णवांश्च
वैष्णवाञ्च
श्रीरूपं
श्रीरूपं
साग्रजातं
साग्रजातं
सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं
तं
सजीवम्
सजीवं
साद्वैतं
तं
सावधूतं
सावधूतं
परिजनसहितं
परितं
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान्
राधाकृष्णपादान्
सगनललिता श्रीविशाखावितं च
श्रीविशाखान्विताञ्च
हे
हे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
करुणा
करुणा
सिन्धु
सिन्धु
दीनबन्धो
दीनबन्धो
जगत्
जगत्पते
गोपेश
गोपेश गोपिका कान्त
गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त
राधाकान्त
नमस्तुते
नमोऽस्तुते
तप्त
तप्त
काञ्चन
काञ्चन गौराङ्गी
गौराङ्गी राधे
राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृन्दावनेश्वरि
विश्वानुसुते
वृषभानुसुते
देवी
देवी प्रणमामि
प्रणमामि
हरिप्रिये
हरिप्रिये
वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपा
कृपा
सिन्धुभ्येव
सिन्धुभ्येव च
च
पतितानां
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णव्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः।
नमः
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंद
नित्यानन्द
श्री
श्री
अद्वैत
अद्वैत
गदाधर श्रीवास आदि
श्री
गौर भक्त वृंद।
गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे
हरे
कृष्ण हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे
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 राम
राम
राम राम
राम
हरे हरे।
हरे हरे
नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्र जगन्नाथाय ते नमो. So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha. We had a break last week due to Radhastami, but what a verse to ponder today. Here, Krishna is eventually culminating his discussion with Arjuna towards Bhakti Yoga, where Krishna is emphasizing that you should always desire to stay under my protection, and you should indirectly or directly offer everything as a surrender to me, in the sense that if you work under the protection of me and you depend on me, so the depending upon Krishna and staying under the protection of Krishna is is nothing but bhakti yoga. And Krishna is saying, and that intelligence Buddhi Yogam Upashritya. That intelligence is nothing but Buddhi Yoga, which is uh, eventually culminating into love for Godhead and love for devotional service. So that's essentially is the topic of today's conversation as to why does Krishna eventually is saying he has given all kind of arguments to Arjuna about the need to fight and the need to uphold the varnashram dharma, and you are part and parcel of me, and you are focusing on the act of protecting your valor, and you should fight for it. And eventually, he is saying everything should culminate into loving devotional service or taking shelter of him. So it is mutually exclusive. So when you're about to fight, you fight with a attitude to really kill the enemy. In this sense, Arjuna is asked to go and fight the enemy. But at the end of the day, Krishna is saying, do that, but do it and you work under my protection. Because so someone may say that, hey, Krishna was present with Arjuna, that's why he's saying to work under his protection, and how it is relevant today. So that's a uh, dilemma we are going to discuss today. And Krishna is saying that devotionals, that buddhi, which I'm going to give you, the buddhi yogam upashritya, that that intelligence I'm going to give you will foster devotional service. And by doing that, you'll be conscious of me. So it's a bit of a uh, topic which we really have to go deep into and discuss. Why is Krishna eventually saying that intelligence, that chetasa comes from our inner chetana. That means our inner knowledge or inner intelligence, and through that intelligence we end up doing so many things. But when our intelligence is not focused on Krishna consciousness, the activities we end up doing is not regulated, are not under the supervision of Krishna or his bona fide um, descendants. So it is very important for all of us to recognize that whenever there is a factory and you are working as a worker, you're doing something, but when there is a problem in the factory, who does the police catch? The police catches the CEO of the company, that he was knowing that there was something going on, there was some mixing of chemicals which was going on behind the scene, and the people who were under the jurisdiction go scot free. Likewise, in this whole cosmic manifestation, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And once you work under the surrender or under the supervision of Krishna or his representative, what you're basically doing, you're basically, it's not as if you're weak, that's why you are under Krishna. It's not as if you lack knowledge, but actually the topmost brightest people, they know who their boss is. Unless, in order to really grow anywhere, we have to first recognize whether the boss is there for the right or wrong reason, that's a different thing. But understanding the expectation which is bestowed upon you is important. And that works in your office, in everywhere. So, but here, Krishna is saying, when that intelligence is disseminated to you, what do you end up doing? You don't end up doing things on your own. You end up doing things which is under the protection of me, and you work under me. So it is a very difficult proposition to discuss as to why we should depend on the Supreme. Most of the time, we think, we have the freedom, we have the intelligence to lead our life. Many times we go in a path, but eventually, when because our knowledge is limited, we get controlled by the illusory energy of the Lord in the form of anger, greed, And when we get captivated by this anger, this greed, we don't end up doing things in the right way. We end up doing things whimsically, which La Prabhupada is also using this purport that whimsically trying to lead a life has led us to this place where everybody wants to do everything and there is no control. And there was a beautiful interaction. Nowadays, people have become so much selfish that um, and their heart has become so hard that whenever there is somebody who passes away, it's very difficult to get tears in our eyes. People are, finding ways, finding artificial ways to laugh, finding artificial ways to cry, because the natural propensity for us to laugh and to cry when somebody leaves has gone, actually. We live in a very selfish society, and that has really highlighted the importance of spirituality. We are spirit souls. We are connected by the soulful presence of the Supreme in our lives. When that soulful presence of the Supreme Lord is taken from us, we are no more. We're spirit souls. Our natural propensity is when you take a fish out of water, he or she dies, right? Why is that? Because the natural position of fish is to be within the water, and that is his natural dharma. And when you take it, he basically, you know, because the oxygen, um, the the attributes what the fish is subjected to makes it difficult, and eventually the fish dies. And that's the reason. And you'll see that when such fishes die, they die with so much of pain. And so when we stay in the context of our original position, we look alike. When we um, if you all have a family, and when all the family members are very cooperative, it looks like a very nicely baked, choreographed uh, group of people who are happy when others are happy, they are sad when others are sad, and that symbiotic process really fostered over a period of time. But now what is happening, we all are staying in very far different places, and often that aspect, that mellow which we used to have, is been taken away. And now we are becoming very much selfish, and we try to lead a life by our whimsical mentalities, and we do not depend on anyone. Forget about God. We do not depend on anyone. We take the decision in our life what to do, what not to do, and what to eat or what to drink. And eventually it leads us to a point that some of this emotions, some of this the soulful aspect. Why do we people um, keep why is Krishna giving importance to soul in Bhagavad Gita? Because a person who is soulful has all the mellows as such as happiness, sadness, um, and that once it is taken away, a person becomes uh, like a matter, and that matter makes it so. It is important for us to stay under the jurisdiction. When a calf is with the cow, the calf is
Dead.
is happy, and that's the reason why whenever the love is described, you see the mother kid love is called Vashalya Bhav. And if you look at where this Vashalya Bhav has come, it is actually come from the calf. The calf in Hindi is called Bachwa, and through that, when the calf takes milk from mother, and after that the way the mother licks the cow, that form of mother kid relationship is unthinkable and unheard of. And that is the reason why when that word gets transported to the mother-kid relationship in the human form, that is called Vatsalya Bhav, because it has come from cow, but that cow was just an example. But the fact of the matter is, it is soulful for us to have that element of love. And if that is taken away, then the person becomes raw, the person becomes more material. And that's why the difference between matter and spirit. So here, Krishna is saying that we have to stay within the confines of your supreme personality of Godhead, who is Krishna himself. So he's saying all activities, whatever you end up doing, you have to depend on me. If you do not depend on me, then a time will come. You will not only be soulless, as I just mentioned, you'd lose the purpose of life. And that has become a very common thing because people have left the devotional service. And that's one thing. The other thing is, Krishna is saying, is work under my protection. What is working under my protection? Uh, can we ever work without any protection in our life? For everything, when we work, and if there is too much of heat, we take protection under the tree. Every step of the way, we need protection. And whenever you fully surrender onto someone, like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you realize whenever a kid is going with the parents, do you ever think the kid is worried? Who will buy my ticket? I have to get money to buy my ticket. What I'll eat on the way. He or she doesn't care. They are very happy. They're total bindas because the parent are there. They have totally surrendered that wherever they will go, the parents are going to take care. So, in that surrender mindset, if we lead a life, think about the kind of fearlessness we will have. If we know that Krishna is protecting us, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is protecting us, how much of daring attitude we are going to have in our life? We will basically lead a life which where we are fearless. We know Krishna is going to protect us. That's why Srila Prabhupada at the age of 69, with so much of health problems, came and you saw what he has made. This he has made a world of beautiful devotees who are connected through the soulful connection, and because of that, we're able to flourish and lead a decent life in this. So, and also, uh, Krishna says, Sarvaschaham Hridi Sannivisto Matspriti Jnanam Apohanam cha. That Krishna can give us remembrance. Krishna, Krishna says in 15.15 that he gives us remembrance and he gives us forgetfulness. So if you mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha, that knowledge, that intelligence we have got from the Supreme. And Krishna says, I can be apohanamcha. I also give you forgetfulness. So always remember me. Don't think that little power we got, little money we got, we can sort of turn the world, because the importance of that kid who is with the parent is fearless and he ends up doing everything. That is the kind of spirit we have to come, we have to become, in the sense that whatever activities we end up doing, if we are doing in conscious of the Supreme, as in Krishna in this case, and Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when we do anything conscious of the Supreme, the effects are significant and we become more fearless. So when somebody goes to temple, people say, hey, this person is trying to, he's weak and that's why he's trying to go to temple. But no, that's not what it is. He's going to the temple to do devotional service so that he can reinforce that connection, reinforce that element of relationship, which, and when you end up doing that, what you give, you water the seeds of devotion. And when you water the seeds of devotion, you gradually become more and more empathetic, compassionate. You become more and more humble. You become more and more dependent on Krishna and independent of others, independence of material energies of the Lord. and then you end up becoming more and more confident. So it's a very unique way of looking at things. People think spiritualists are weak. They go to temple, they ask for this, they do this, but actually, on the contrary, they're very strong, and they rely on none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they do not rely on anyone in the middle, in the form of trying to get benefit from here and there, because they're fearless. They know that if there is a problem, there is Krishna who is going to save. And that's the reason why Mother Draupadi, Mother Kunti, and Arjunas, the Pandavas, they were basically surrendered souls who there are many attempts to take their lives, but they were just fearless. They have nothing to lose because they're fully surrendered. When you have surrendered everything to someone, you have nothing to lose, and you become fearless because Krishna is going to protect in every step of the way. So, beautiful verse, and Krishna has spoken about this buddhi many times in Bhagavad Gita. In 2.39, he said he used buddhi to do yoga, and in 10.10, dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam yantite. And in 15.15, he speaks about he gives intelligence, and he can take away intelligence by giving you forgetfulness. So this buddhi yoga is all, if you look at wherever he has used buddhi, he is basically dovetailing that to devotional service or bhakti. For him, buddhi or jnana yoga, somebody may say, but actually for Krishna, everything is dovetailed into devotional service, and that devotional service is something which is the end. The buddhi is a means. So when you become more intelligent, you do the right thing. And what is the right thing? Right thing is to surrender to the Supreme. So this buddhi is just a means to the end, which is nothing but loving devotional service. And when loving devotional service appears in our life, we become fearless, we become selfless, we become humble, we become compassionate, we become empathetic, and we become more soulful. And that is why you see devotees are always happy. And even if they go through difficulties, it's not as if they don't go through difficulties. They go through many difficulties. Nobody goes through difficulties like Mother Kunti or the Pandavas, but they are ever shining stars, and they come out fighting. So can go on and on, but hopefully our today's words of 18.57 can reinforce some element of surrender in our life. And gradually, as you progress, 5.7, 5.8, 5.9, all the way till the end, Krishna is going to focus more on the surrender, surrender, surrender. And we have built onto it so that it's not as if the surrender is appearing in Greek and German immediately, but Krishna is making a case every step of the way. And everything eventually goes to Mamikam Sharanam Braja, and where he ends up saying, eventually surrender unto me. And this is such a beautiful verse to ponder and discuss with the devotees and Bhakti Vriksha. So thank you so much for your attention. Like to hear from you, your reflections, comments, and anything you may like to add with reference to this verse. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Any comments, everyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, very beautiful verse, Prabhuji, and very beautiful. You have explained very easily, Prabhuji. You said what we call. Yeah, so under my protection is the main theme here, Prabhuji. Under my protection and work and under my protection, because um, he says that everybody has to do uh, uh, their what constitutional duty, right, Prabhuji? So what we are trying to understand here is that when we perform our constitutional duty, um, automatically, when it means it is ordained by Krishna, Prabhuji, that duty which if we recognize. So when we do our constitutional duty, we automatically he will protect us, and that constitutional duty is described by the relative position of ours as a father, as a parent, as a son, and as a um, employee, whatever that constitutional position at that time is, Prabhuji, at that point of so you'll always be protected, and as you have rightly emphasized, there is no fear, Prabhuji. And above that, Prabhuji, above and all, what a realization I got when you are explaining is that when you work under him, there is no bondage, Prabhuji. You don't get binded. Means when one is fear, when we work under his protection, we don't have fear, and two, we don't have to worry about the bondage. We are automatically liberated from the consequences of it, Prabhuji. That is also one of the meaning which I realize when you work for him, and when you don't have any selfish vested interest in the work you are doing or work for whom you are doing, naturally you put all your intelligence into it, Prabhuji. And that is the way Krishna gives the intelligence to us, because we don't have any vested interest and we are under his protection, and we don't have any bondage with respect to that. So that is one of the essence I got from when you are explaining, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
One thing I have to, there should be, it's surrender versus my duties. So,
Mm,
surrender means it's not that I will just wait for Krishna, Lord Krishna to do everything for me. And so I have to do my duty because mankind is born as that's what is called the latest animal, means life. So I have to do my duties. Apart from that, it's I have to surrender. On top of that, I have to surrender. Right? It's not like that I should not do anything.
Yeah, surrender means here, Prabhuji, that you are surrendering to the result of what you're doing. You whatever it is, good, bad, medium, whatever that is, Prabhuji. Surrender means here you have to do your duty, but you should not have any expectation from that. You'll do with a certain determination and a certain target and certain definitely, Prabhuji. But if the target is not achieved, we don't start questioning Krishna or the presence or the existence of Krishna. That is what surrender is, Prabhuji. You have to do your duty, because Krishna says that even I do my duty. If I stop doing my duty, well, the whole world will put into ruination, right? He says. So surrender here means, he says that to Arjuna also, that you fight, whether you win, lose, you die, doesn't matter. Your duty is a kshatriya, you fight. That's what I was mentioning as constitutional position. Our whatever our constitutional position is, we do without vested interest and without the expectation of the result, Prabhuji. The
mm,
moment we have the expectation of the result, we are not surrendered, Prabhu. That is not called surrender. Though we are doing our duty, we think we are doing our duty.
mm. Yeah, very nice, Prabhu. So duty, what is duty? Duty, as Prabhuji mentioned, and sometimes Krishna also mentions, is the constitutional position. There are a lot of duties, and these duties are driven by in Vedic literature. It has written, or we are indebted because the duty. So we have duty to our parents. We have duty to our guru. We have duty to yeah, we have duty to our the mother nature. We have duty uh, to there are in the rishis who are nothing but gurus. So there are different rins, or we are indebted to many in our system. So all that all those duties are our constitutional position. We have debt to our teacher, and today happens to be the Teachers' Day, and we have debt to our parents. We have debt to our family. We have, so those are our constitutional position. But most of the time, what happens? is all those duties for all of us are often ignored, and we are very much becomes duties to our immediate family members. Our duties to our parents we often neglect. Duties to our guru we often neglect. Duties to mother nature we often neglect. So sometimes what happens is we choose duties which are because we have gone through evolution. So the constitutional position is important here. And secondly, um, and so surrender means surrendering uh, the result or the fruits of the karma. In this sense, we are doing a service, we're making a lot of money, but we do not spend time time or money in sort of progressing some of the values. Some, and that will culminate into things where we become prosperous, but through this process, we have declined or denied the ability for the wholesome growth of the society. So we have 360-degree duties which we cannot ignore, but at the end of the day what happens is when we end up doing our duties we get enamored by our duties. Like we get, suppose you're doing duties to the parents, you keep serving the parents, you keep serving the parents, and when the parents are towards the end you get enamored. Nowadays I'm not saying you nowadays people get enamored to the property they have. So what is happening is with duties, you think that this is the result I should get, and then you try to succumb to the properties they have, and that itself is when you are not doing duties in a selfless manner. So what Krishna is saying is do the duty to the parent, which you rightly said, but the result of the duty, if your parents are happy and they end up giving, don't have expectations and give the results of the duties back to the Supreme. So that is where what happens is we will do our duties. We will not have greed. Because what is happening, a person does so many things, so many things, so many things. And after that, the craving is there. Oh, what have I done? I've done so much. Let me get something in the result. And that really is, it messes the system. And that is what Krishna is saying. Once we go deep into this, we realize that when I started, I didn't had that, but over a period of time of doing my duties, it became it became my proprietary thing, and that's the reason why after doing a lot of hard work, I want result, and that itself is a very vicious circle which Krishna wants us to be was to stay away from. Does that help, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Prabhu. Any other comments? Very nice discussion on duties and surrender.
Basically, we should, as Prabhupada always mentioned, we should not try to be the proprietor. That is not surrender, Prabhuji. The moment we try to be a proprietor, we will never surrender. So the moment we give all the proprietorship to Krishna, that is surrender, Prabhuji.
That's right.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very nicely explained Prabhuji. So I just got one point understood. So that is dependence. So in this sloka, Prabhupada is mentioning that depending on Lord is like it's a part of surrendering. So mostly as a conditional soul, we are all conditioned to be independent, being independent. So many times Prabhupada also mentions in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraja, after completing every chapter, he mentions that he glorifies Goswamis, Raghunath, Rupa Raghunath.
Hare Krishna.
I'm helpless. I'm just depending on your mercy. So this is how our mood should be. But what happens? For me, I mostly bhakti is like a external, whimsical, but maybe because of this material development or something, I'm not into truly Krishna conscious that always should we depend on Krishna or depend on Guru or depend on Vaishnavas. So can you please share some practical points that in a day-to-day life, how do we depend on Hari Guru Vaishnavas so that it's like something practically I'm looking for this.
Yeah. No, excellent question. I think this is very practical. This is exactly why we want to talk about it. So what is happening in we should not think this devotional service is something we end up this devotional service is a culture. Sometimes what happens is your question is very valid. I'll try to reiterate your question at the end. And this is a practical problem actually. It's a practical problem. This devotional service is a way of life. What that means. So what happens is you are young or somebody is young. He ends up going to a temple. He does a lot of devotional service. Then he is given some appreciation, and then this thing goes on, and after some time he or she becomes old and he cannot do devotional service. The relationship goes sour. Then what happens is then the person feels sad. So this is where some of our seniors have mentioned that we should internalize this devotional service and make scripture part of our process. What I mean by that is a time will come when we may not see management change, um, groups change, but that should not affect our mood to do devotional service. You mentioned about this devotional service is I'm not too much into it, but the thing is, if you read the scripture, if you internalize the scripture in your house, you end up serving the Lord and reading Srimad Bhagavatam, internalizing it, the ability to mananam, in the sense ability to meditate on the forms of the Lord, the activities of the Lord. So what will happen is the devotional service is going to give you strength, and that strength is internal. It's not a show off thing that you have to go in the temple and do garlanding or this or that. So this devotional service is, people are there in far corners where there are no ISKCON temple or whatever temple, but they're still doing devotional service. It is because devotional service is a strength, and that strength, it it flares into good family life. It flares into good relationship. Uh, so uh, so we should think that this devotional service is like you're eating every day, like you're doing some activities every day. This devotional service is exactly like that, and it is a process by which you strengthen your relationship with Krishna, in the sense that and once you do more and more of this, the surrender will end up will happen. And it is not just a show of doing clean up in temple. You are doing clean up in the temple because you are young. A time will come you will not be young and you cannot do it. That doesn't mean you're, so instead of getting attached to the devotional service, suppose you are making samosa for the temple, a time will come you do so much that you always want your samosa to be appreciated, but you may not end up doing the best all the time, and then you feel sad. So that attitude of not getting attached to the devotional service is important. So what that means is we end up doing, we end up reading, we end up associating virtually or through different programs. ISKCON has many nice spiritual programs, Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vaibhav. There are many ISKCON schools which are offering those diplomas. As you end up doing, it becomes part, even if you are at a far off place, you can constantly get engaged. If you're far from the temple, you can still get engaged, so that you stay connected, so that it becomes your process, your internalization. And when you don't do it, you feel okay, as if something has happened to me, and there is that element of detachment you have. So the devotional service should always be attractive in our life, and when you end up doing all that, the surrenderness to Krishna and feeling that he is protecting you all the time will set in, and that will definitely make our uh, understanding of devotional service better and better, without thinking that And devotional service is just not restricted to doing work in a social place or in a group place. It can be cultured at home and so on and so forth. I don't know whether it answered your question, but I was just
Yes,
thinking
yes,
about it.
Prabhuji, very nice. It is like most importantly, I understood it, internalizing the scriptures. So that's very nice, Prabhuji. And one
Mataji,
more.
one point I want to tell. Just I read from Radhanath Swami Maharaj off late, couple of days. He told devotional service is privilege. Don't think it as a burden. The moment we have that, we develop that consciousness that it's a privilege, as Prabhuji has mentioned, everything will fall in place, Mataji. Your thought process that I'm not surrendered or anything, all the Krishna will clear that path for you to surrender. He will create situations. He will give intelligence. That's what he's telling, right? He will give you intelligence to how to surrender or when to surrender, basically. So only thing is, the moment we think that it is a burden or, oh, I have to go to temple and do this, the moment we think, then we don't think devotional service is a privilege. The moment we think devotional service is a privilege, oh, Krishna has given me this chance, let me use it. As Prabhupada always mentioned, we should think this life as a privilege, where we got this chance to converse about Krishna and associate with Krishna. Just wanted to add to Prabhuji's explanation.
Thank you,
Yes,
bro.
Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
You wanted to add something, Mataji?
Just another question, Prabhuji, is like there are so many ways that we usually take shelter of Krishna, like chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or reading scriptures, or doing some service, or taking shelter of prasadam. There are so many is there so in our Krishna conscious. So some people have some inclination to one particular service. So somebody is very good at scripture reading, but not very good attentive in doing chanting. So like if the mind is so much occupied that I say I'm not good doing good chanting, I'm not good at my rounds, like how could we overcome that, Prabhuji? Like am
Hmm.
I is it understandable, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So what is happening? See, uh, like in our college, right? We have uh, we can do honors, we can do very well distinction, but we need to have some pass mark, and that pass mark is often 35% or 40%. Then you have first class distinction honors. See this. So what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, that we need to be regulated, the four regulative principles we end up doing, and also the ability to chant if we have taken a vow. I agree. Sometimes it may not be of high quality, but that is like a pass mark. We all should aspire to do it. But this scriptural reading, garlanding, all those additional things are like bonus. So I think we should always try to complete the vows to as much as possible. We should do quality thing. Okay, the tool and technique is to kind of complete the rounds very early in the morning when mind is not uh, wandering around. So it is mentioned that you you should complete as much as possible in the morning because it's easy to do it in the morning. If you can do it, do bulk in the morning and do it in the afternoon or whenever it is comfortable. But the flexibility that the chanting can be done anytime is a testament that there is no very hard and fast rule. There is no, you have to be in the seated posture or walking and all that. So there is definitely some flexibility, and we should aspire uh, to chant attentively. But that is like a very basic because for a person who has taken the vows to do it, it is always recommended. And sometimes you are not well, you can, my Guru Maharaj says, you can miss some, but try to make it up the next day. So the point is That is like a very basic requirement. And what is that? It is not a mechanical thing. And once you end up chanting again and again and again, we remember Krishna. And at the time when our end is near and when we are having pain and whatnot, uh, through all these elements in our life, we will this will act as a medication for us. So it is going to help us. So trying to chant, remember the names of the Lord, uh, is a habit you're investing in your future, in your because it's very difficult to the four uh, Janma, Mrityu, Jaravadi is very painful. Janma is painful from the mother's womb. Mrityu is painful. Jara, old age is painful, and Vyadhi, disease is painful. So we are actually investing. This Krishna consciousness is a medication which not only allows us to love the Supreme, but actually it is internalizing the system. So whenever this pain comes, uh, instead of saying something, we say Krishna or Hare Krishna. So at least the first line of defense is always so. And when you are feeling sleepy, of course, the chanting will not be good. That's another thing we have to avoid. So there are some techniques, and there is japa. Uh, there are some devotees of Srila Prabhupada who does japa workshop. So sometimes when you go on a japa workshop for a day or two, your quality of chanting improves. Trying to go on a yatra with a group of devotees for 7 8 days to Vrindavan or to Jagannath Puri or Mayapur, when you are along the devotees, so that will give you the battery for the next 6 months to chant well. So I think so this is a investment we are doing. We think it'll come. Ideally, we have to invest to do a quality. Sometimes a person who does quality chanting, he's very confident that he has done his duty to the Lord, and the remaining days progress very nicely. So, a quality chanting in a day is a insurance and a investment you are doing, and more we invest in it to do it in a nicer way, it's going to reap benefits with us. It will give us confidence. It will give us happiness. It'll give us that element of surrender, and gradually it will become. It will not be perfect, but this is unless you practice, you won't really get to perfection.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you. Aditya. Any other comments from anyone? Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danda Pranam, all glory to
Hare
Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Nice class Prabhuji, thank you so much. And I'm so sorry. Uh, we last few weeks I was kind of tied up with lot of works, office work. I was not able to join last week also. Uh, yeah, a couple. So I think we have time, Prabhuji, or
Yeah, why not?
yeah. So I was so now I was listening one of the Prabhuji's lecture, and I made a habit, Prabhuji, nowadays that at least I will listen sometime in a day with Prabhupada's lectures. Okay, the hearing, right?
Mm,
So I mean, if you hear Prabhupada's lectures, right, in every lecture, at least one common thing Prabhupada mentioned that, right, we are the soul, we are not the body. Okay, so
mhm,
this is very basic primary thing, Prabhuji. Okay,
mhm,
so once we have this realization, right, कि we are not this body, we are the soul.
mhm,
Most of the problems will be solved, Prabhuji, here itself. Okay,
mhm,
I mean 90% problems solved here itself. Okay, right? But that we are uh, forgetting, right? And when the day passes, right, when we chant, right, then we remember. Okay, then again when we start our office work, we slowly again miss we forget, right? Again we have to get that remembrance again, right? We are not the body. So that that is something primary, Prabhuji. Okay, so second thing what I want to tell that, see, once you have understand that you are the soul, and the primary The dharma of soul is that, to serve Lord, okay, right? So this is secondary, Prabhuji, okay. So once you know that you are the soul, and soul cannot be independent, okay. Even in the body also, right? Once the super soul leaves, right, soul cannot do anything, okay. Within the
Mhm.
body, if the super soul is not there, right? If the soul is there only in body, then body even cannot work also. With the soul is getting strength from super soul, okay, right? So I mean, without Lord, we cannot do anything, Prabhuji, okay.
Mhm.
Is this verse, right? Like we
Mhm.
have to depend, like indirectly, actually, we are depending on Lord only, okay, right? Because as the day passes, like we are like walking, eating everything. Even the Lord also mentions that He gives heed to digest our food, right? I mean,
Mhm.
everything is done by Lord only, and whatever activity that we are doing, indirectly it is being done by Lord only, okay. But we have that ahankar bhav, that we are thinking that we are the doer, okay, that ahankar bhav is there, right, Prabhuji?
Mhm.
And also in 18th chapter, that whatever duty we do, we are not the sole doer, right? There are five factors that is responsible, okay, right? And
Mhm.
but ultimately, due to that false ego, what we think that we are the doer, okay, and all our, we want to take all the credit.
Mhm.
But indirectly, actually, we do only 1%, not even 1% also, okay.
Mhm.
99% being done by Lord itself, okay. Lord and
Mhm.
the material nature, these two
Mhm.
things are only, right?
Mhm.
We just do the desire, okay. Soul just do the desire. Ultimately, the desire will be passed to the Lord. Lord thinks the desire, and Lord will pass to the material nature. Material nature just manifests the desire, okay. That
Mhm.
is the cycle is going on, right?
Mhm.
Depends like what kind of desire we have, right? The Lord will do accordingly, If we are chanting, let's say we are remembering Lord, then Lord thinks that no, this guy is, at least he is approaching me. Then Lord will help. Lord, Lord will, the super soul will be manifest as Krishna, okay. I mean, the function of super soul is that, he wants to. I mean, there is no partiality, right? Super soul. I mean, he treat everybody same, right? But when we do devotional service, right? The super soul nature of super soul will be turned as the Krishna, right? I mean, the
Mhm.
Krishna. Then what happens? No, then Krishna will try to give intelligence, right? As we Dadami Buddhi Yogam, right? When we
Mhm.
try to do devotional service, then Krishna realized at least this person is turning face towards me. Then I have to take care of him. Okay. Then he will give proper guidance, proper knowledge, and everything. Okay.
Mhm.
Then automatically the surrender, everything will come from there itself, Prabhuji. Okay.
Mhm.
Once we move our face towards him,
Mhm.
he is like, uh, Bhavagray Janardhan, right? He knows that, okay. So at least this guy is turning face towards me. So at least, then he will guide. So he will try to, make all the situation in such a way so that, we will always focus, and we have to make a habit. At least, I made the habit now, okay. At least one verse from Bhagavatam I have to read, one verse from Gita I have to read, 16 rounds minimum I have to stand morning time itself try to complete. So these three basic skills, Prabhuji. Okay. Once we do these three things at least, right? Remaining automatically it will fall, Prabhuji. Okay. I mean, we no need to do any any hard work or anything. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's something I want to.
No, no, I think you summarized the entire essence in your 5 minutes. This is nothing but because we think we are the body, and we, as you mentioned, we from that we grow and try to have ahankar. That really is counterintuitive. Think about kheer, for example. You make good kheer, but you think you did very good and you are very proud of kheer. See, the milk is given by the cow. The machines have pasteurized it and it has come to your house. The gas comes from natural gas. The rice is done by the farmer and the sugar has come from somewhere. Everything has come from everywhere. And you just mixed it up and you made the kheer and you are so ahankar, so much ahankar that you think it is. But actually, 1% of work has been done by you. 99% of the work, good basmati rice, good milk, good gas, good utensils, they're all somebody else. But look at what happens. All the chefs, they go out and say, this is my creation, this is my creation. Is it really our creation? That's one thing I want to add. that nothing is ours, but we think everything is ours. The second thing, the people who, why do people do suicide? Because they haven't had the understanding that this body is not ours, the soul is not ours. When you don't own anything, what right you have to take it away? If we give Krishna consciousness to everybody, nobody will do suicide because this body doesn't belong to us. And the third thing you mentioned, which I noted it down, is life comes from life. When we cannot give life, how can we take somebody's life for our pleasure? So I think when Srila Prabhupada says every verse that we are not the body, we are the soul, and if you tapped onto it and if you have understood it, none of these things I just mentioned and you mentioned will happen. And once we just switch that in our mindset, everything falls in place. Nothing is ours to start with. Why have ahankar? And we are trying. Everybody's conditioned. Even all of us, we are all practitioners. We are all at a different stage, but essentially we all have all of that. And it's just a matter of uh, being aware or being conscious of Krishna so that these anarthas or these impurities are swayed away from us through gradual association, gradual discussion, always having interaction so that anytime we go astray in a road into 87, there is speed bumps which gets us back. So Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, these things you all mentioned are essentially those those the side alerts we have in the road, and we all need devotees help to bring it all together and stay in the lane and all the time and shun these impurities. Thank you for sharing. Anything else?
Yeah, one last thing I want to tell that I mean I was hearing the Lal Gobind Swami Prabhuji's class. He was saying that bhakti is something to the internal thing, okay. I mean
Hmm.
it's not the show of thing, okay, right? So
No.
you just do whatever you want to do it, okay, but internally just just think of Krishna, just do it everything whatever you want to do it, okay, in family life, right? You just do your office work, do your household work, everything, okay, right? But I mean, it's not like you don't no need to solve everyone that you do like. But internally, you have to be very much. You ask Lord that I'm doing this work, right? Uh, God, please help me to finish this work. Okay, just internally you pray the Lord. Okay, that's all. Okay, right? I mean, bhakti is not outside. You don't need to solve. I mean, it's kind of internal thing. That's what he was saying. Okay.
Mm. True. Bhakti is the more internally you are strong with bhakti, you will become confident. You will become you'll become confident in the sense when the sad things, materially sad things hits you, you will not be perturbed. So what is this bhakti telling us? Many times there is sadness, people just are done. They're pretty much given up. But this is where, if you have understood this science of consciousness, you'll be strong to defend it, and that is where bhakti helps. But thanks for sharing all that. Okay. Anything, any other comments from anyone, including you, Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, like one more thing, if you can take a class maybe next week. So, I mean, because whatever puja that we do at home, right, Prabhuji, are we doing in a proper way? How to, I mean, because I learn whatever I saw from my family, how my parents are doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, just wanted to know from the when the day starts till the we end, right? Like how when we do the altar puja, right? How to do it, Prabhuji, like in our proper way. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can take a small, like let's say morning program, we have to do the Mangala Arati. But Mangala Arati, like we have to finish our round also, right? Like in at home, like I generally start with 4:45, 5, like I want to finish within 6:30 my rounds, whatever how many rounds I want to. Then, but Mangalarati has to be start from 5 or right at home. Like how that then, because we have to also finish our rounds, right, Rosie, like morning time. So like maybe you can.
Mm-hmm.
give a small, like how to do properly at home puja, like.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. So, Prabhu, there is we have something called ISKCON deity worship. Um, I was just trying to find out the website, but yes, we can discuss it. Yeah, we definitely can discuss. I'll try to add after the Bhagavad Gita 18.58 we are going to discuss next time. Some of the basic deity worship processes, which is laid down by ISKCON deity worship ministry. We have a deity worship ministry in ISKCON. I was just trying to look at their worship website as I was speaking. We can discuss more about some of the minimum deity worship standards we should follow if we have some deities. What I mean by deities is uh, deities. See, there's a difference between photograph and deities. So what I mean by deities is somebody you can change dress once a week or something and do abhishek once in a while. That's what I mean by deities. Actually, for us, there's nothing called idol because he has a life of his own. Krishna is a person and he's a supreme person. So we can discuss a little bit and maybe also make it more sort of um, everybody can chime in with how they end up doing this, how they and some of the things you end up seeing. You see somebody before offering something is trying to sprinkle water and then put a spoon with water. So essentially, they are purifying the place and trying to wash the hands of, say, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra or Radha Shyam Sundar Gaur Nitai. So those some basic understanding is because when you give some food, it's for enjoyment. So it's bhoga, and after he glances and eats it, actually they eat, by the way. Prabhupada has told us. Then it becomes a remnant or a prasad. So some of the basic understanding we can discuss. There is no end to it. The mudras people do, um, they purify with water from Gange, Jamune, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, Kaveri, Jaleshmin, Sannidhi Guru. That's a mantra they were uttered to purify the place before the worship. There is no end to it. Okay. But having said that, we can touch on some of the fundamental uh, worship principles, which is laid out by ISKCON deity worship ministry, and you can talk about it. You can. And we are not critical enough to say that whatever worship they were doing at home is not right. Nobody has told us to say that. So
I
have
mean, I scare, what I'm doing is if it is wrong, then I have to bear the offense, right?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I want to make sure, what I'm doing in a correct way. Okay, so
yeah. So in India, what happened? They have karma kanda process, Satyanarayana puja. There are certain pujas which are bona fide in ISKCON as well. Garva Sanskar puja, when a kid is about to come to this world. There is ISKCON practices also, but we also do not do a lot of with karmakandas which are recognized by there. So but that's the faith they have been having for quite some time. And some of these faiths, they go to many extent when they do end up doing shraddha and so many things. And in some places, that is moderately done. Some places, it is even more moderately done. So there is no. So, but in ISKCON, we don't follow a lot of these things. We also follow a lot of other things as well. For some purificatory process of doing Narasimha Yagya or Griha Pravesh Puja, Garva Sanskar Puja, and so on and so forth. So um, we can talk about some of the bona fide processes followed by ISKCON. Okay. next time. Maybe talk about it. Is that okay?
Sure, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. So let's end here, Prabhu. It's a very wonderful way to connect and share our hearts in this Bhakti Vriksha, where we talk don't talk about mundane things, but we talk about what Krishna has spoken, because that itself is a tall order for us to, even if we just take 0.5% of what Krishna has spoken and internalize in our lives, we'll be very successful, because um, everybody says things in, it said, Arjuna Vacha, Yudhishthir, Dhritarashtra Vacha, Sanjay Vacha, but when Krishna speaks, it said Bhagavan Vacha. So he's the supreme person. Otherwise, it would have been said Krishna Vacha. So there is no doubt who the supreme personality of Godhead is, who is Bhagavan. And it's a very simple way to say whoever challenges us as to who is Bhagavan is none other than Krishna. Otherwise, Vyasadeva, in the reference to Bhagavad Gita, would have written uh, Krishna Vacha. So the Bhagavan is speaking, and even if you take 0.5% of that, our life will be sublime. So with that, like to
And
offer.
this Sunday is Bhadra Purnima, very auspicious day, Prabhuji.
Yes, so Sunday is the appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam was born on this day. It's Purnima as well. It's falling day after tomorrow. So people offer a puja to Bhagavatam, who is none other than Krishna. The book, Krishna is not in the form of deity. Krishna can manifest anywhere, anytime. Krishna manifested in a pillar to save Prahlad's problems. So he can appear anywhere. He appears as a book, as book Bhagavata. And that day, if you have Bhagavatam at home, you can. Otherwise, you could welcome Bhagavatam as Krishna into your house and do a puja in your house as well, because that's the appearance day of Srimad Bhagavatam. You can gift, you can donate, you can do some austerity, but the benefits are going to be yours. No one can take it away. So please participate in whatever way you can in Bhadra Purnima. And next week, it is basically Srila Prabhupada's arrival in Boston, probably 65. So it's 60 years ago. Prabhupada arrived in Boston next weekend. So there's a big program in ISKCON Boston to commemorate that, and today is the appearance day of
Bhakti Vinod.
Bhakti Vinod Thakur, father of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he is a grihastha. But look what he did as a grihastha. He exhibited some of the topmost grihastha qualities. Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, his son, was born in Jagannath Puri, and he founded all the Gaudiya mission, Gaudiya Mats, before Srila Prabhupada took the message of spreading Krishna consciousness in the Western world and founded ISKCON in 1966 after coming to US in 1965. So let's end here. Offer obeisances at the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas by saying Vancha Kalpataru Vaishya Kripa Sindhu Vaivach
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Namo.
Namo Namo Vaishnav Vrinda ki
Ki
jai.
Jai.
Granth Raj Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Vinod
Hari Bol.
Ki Jai.